Hey there, it's Wellness Wednesday time. For today's video, I want to provide some tips, 4 tips in particular, about how to process negative energy. I was inspired to do this topic because I'm actually in the process of reading a book called Wealth: How I Learned to Build a Life, Not a Resume by Jason Wakeup. And I believe, hopefully I'm pronouncing his last name correctly. And in his book, he states the following, and I'm going to read just a quick passage from it because it's actually pretty cool. Energy is palpable. Have you ever been around friends or family members who always make you feel good? They don't make you feel good by flattering you or buying you things. Instead, they brighten your day just by being near. Whether it's the way they shake your hand, hug you, or simply sit in the room with you, they can elevate your mood. The feeling is almost indescribable, but it's what happens when we spend time with someone with whom we truly enjoy being. The opposite happens when we're around people who give off negative energy. Everyone has felt that drained sensation after being around someone who's a drag on our spirits. It can be the negative words they speak, their sour, critical facial expression, or the black cloud that seems to hang over them even when something positive has occurred. Whatever the manner in which they express it, this type of person can sap our energy simply by being in the same room with us. So yes, I can heavily relate to this topic, and I'm very sensitive to negative energy. To be completely honest, it's something that I have struggled with because I can pick up on negative energy so well. I need to be aware of it when it's happening so I don't just immediately absorb it and act with it. Because how many of us, when we're around a negative person or just around negative energy period, we absorb it and then act with that energy, and that's not a good thing. You don't want to pass that along. So here are some of my personal tips, 4 tips in particular for processing negative energy. Really think closely about who's in your inner circle. You're impacted, I think I've read somewhere, where you are heavily impacted by the 5 closest people to you. So really think about who those people are. Are those people positive influences on you? You want to nurture those relationships and make sure that you're even contributing positively to those relationships. You guys are all feeding off of each other, so just really assess your inner circle and how positive that circle is. I've heard a number of people say that they've had to make some tough decisions to distance themselves from someone who, despite the fact that they have been a friend in their lives for so long, they have been draining them in one way or another, and they had to cut the cord. And while I'm not recommending just cutting cords with friends left and right, I do at least recommend that you invest the time and energy in assessing your friendships, who's really close to you and who really deserves to be in your inner circle. My second tip is to react with positivity, if possible, if you can. I found that when I'm around negative energy, if I don't feed it with a negative reaction, it actually helps to diffuse that energy. It doesn't work all of the time, but I have found that it has worked quite a bit. So for example, let's say you're at work and someone comes at you with like a negative expression and they're all feisty and bitter about something and they have on the RBF face and all of that stuff. By remaining calm, remaining positive, and responding in a positive, cool, calm, collected way, the person, first of all, may be very shocked that you're responding that way because they thought that maybe because they're negative, you would be responding in a negative way as well. Well, you surprise them by not doing so. And oftentimes you'll pleasantly surprise someone by your positive reaction. I do really recommend a positive, if it's possible, a positive reaction to the negative. Not all situations warrant that, but I've found that it has helped in a number of everyday situations. And one of the most interesting things that I found about negative energy is that it feeds off of other negative energy. And so people will be sitting gossiping negatively about someone or just complaining about life or just different things. And that's just what they do on a day-to-day basis. And oftentimes people who do that don't realize that they are operating with that negative energy. And I'm not going to pretend like I wasn't one of those people. We're all human. And I remember a while ago, a long time ago, a good friend of mine telling me, you know what, Kristen, like, you may not realize it, but you're being a bit negative. You tend to kind of brew on the negative stuff. And are you aware of that? And it really took a really good heart-to-heart conversation for me to realize, wow, like I really do take the negative slant on situations, and if I flip the script and I take a more positive view, it actually not just alters my mood in the moment, but it actually could very well change how that situation turns out in the long run, because my perception will definitely influence my action or reaction to that situation, how I speak about it, and any opportunities that could potentially result from a positive reaction to that situation as opposed to a negative reaction. My third tip is to not focus on the negative energy. I think we've all been there, where someone comes at us with this negative attitude, whether people that we know or in a public space with strangers, and it just takes up our entire mental space for the rest of the day. We're brewing on it, we're meditating on it, we're thinking to ourselves, how dare they? How dare they say that thing? How dare they do that thing? Do they realize that they're completely in the wrong? I need to tell them a piece of my mind, and all of those different things that go through our mind. And we talk to people about it, and the negative energy is just growing, and it's feeding like a parasite, and the whole situation continues to get more and more negative, really to some degree based on how you're feeding it. So one of the things I recommend is to not be the element that creates the negative energy or contributes additional negative energy to a situation, because that type of energy can definitely serve like a parasite. Let's say, for example, you tell someone a situation and you're complaining about it, and the person is then feeding back to you negative energy, and y'all go back and forth for hours on end talking about it. Really, what good does that serve? So one of the things, if you can do it, is to try and diffuse it with just flipping the script. Don't focus on it. Try to distract yourself with something that will really get your attention, so you don't have to think about it too much. A great example is, let's say someone cuts you off in traffic and it really pisses you off. You could spend the entire day focusing on that person who cut you off. How dare they? How dare they cut me off in traffic? Do they know that that's a bad idea? And going into all of that and spinning it into 20,000 different moods and reactions, just let it go. You hear that term all the time. Really, it's difficult to do on many occasions, and I can speak from personal experience on this, but really try to let it go. Take a deep breath and keep moving forward. And my last tip is just keep yourself built up throughout the day. Life throws a lot of crap at people, and one of the things that I highly recommend is that you don't inundate yourself with a lot of negative news. Like whatever news stations you listen to, there's all these crazy things happening in this world. I highly recommend that you try to listen, definitely stay informed, but listen to positive things. Watch things that encourage you. Listen to music that's positive, not draining on you. Sometimes it's not obvious that that thing or whatever you're watching or who you're talking to embodies or is emitting negative energy, but if you really listen to the words, or if you really watch what's going on, it can actually be a negative influence impacting you. And then after that person walks away, or after you're done listening to that song, or after you're done watching that political show, you feel like crap, you feel drained, and you wonder, why do I feel this way? And a lot of that is due to the negative energy that you were exposing yourself to. So just really keep yourself built up, really surround yourself with positive people, positive energy, and that will go a long, long way. So those are my 4 tips for processing negative energy. Please feel free to share your thoughts, your advice in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, definitely do so, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.